Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. You might be noticing there's a slight change to the usual location of my videos, and that is because I'm actually back at my university accommodation. And I thought, what better than to show you what I promised in the last video? My bookshelf's here. And I'm aware in the last video of my bookshelf tour at home, I did promise you a tour of my book cart, but unfortunately I lost all the footage. But I did actually take my bookshelf cart to uni. So for this video, I'm going to do a tour of my shelves and finally of my cart. And please forgive me for the absolutely terrible lighting in this room. It is the dungeon room of the flat, I'm afraid. I have a massive tree outside my window which basically blocks any attempt at sunlight reaching my room. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm going to put it straight out there. This probably isn't going to be as exciting as my bookshelf tour at home, but I do have some very exciting books here. And since being here, I have acquired a lot of books. So I do have a lot of books to show you. Yeah, I'm very excited to get into this video. I'm excited to show you my shelves here at university, and I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so this is currently the top of my bookshelf. There's not much on it. That's only because I don't really have the books to fill it. So at the top shelf here, I've put the books that I kind of want to read in like the immediate future, or for the readathon that I'm planning. So I've just got this fake vine from IKEA that just hangs on the side because I think it looks cool. And then of course we have Rule of Wolves, which is a book that I want to read most desperately right now. I have seen everyone absolutely distraught over this book, crying, and I'm so nervous. And I kind of wanted to read it before the show came out on Netflix, but now I'm like, am I going to have the time? Probably not. But it is #1 on my priority list. I have the sequel to The Gilded Wolves, The Silvered Serpents. I was gifted this one a while back, I just haven't got around to reading it yet because I found when I was reading the first one I had to concentrate so much to like understand the story and what was going on. So I might wait until summer just where I don't have any uni work and I can just completely focus on the storyline, but I am very excited. Next I have Ariadne by Jennifer Saint, the proof copy. I was honestly over the moon when I was approved to receive this one because it was just one of my most anticipated reads of the year. It's times like this where I'm just so thankful and grateful to be in the position that I am. As we all know, I am a sucker for Greek mythology, so this I'm sure already that I'm going to absolutely adore. I then have another proof that comes out in June, Marion Lane and the Midnight Murderer, which actually came with a packet of sweets, so publishers know the way to my heart. And it actually sounds really interesting, about mysterious detectives that live underneath the city of London, which I just think sounds really cool and kind of giving me Stalking Jack the Ripper vibes, but I'm not sure if that's the case at all. Then I have Daughters of Narai, which the cover I have never seen anything so beautiful in my life. So yeah, that's like priority for me. I have My Dark Vanessa, which I've heard really interesting things about this book. I've heard nothing but very good reviews about this book and it's making me want to read it so badly. I just have so many books on my TBR right now, it's actually ridiculous. I then have Hopeless by Colleen Hoover, All the Ties of Fate by Adeline Grace, and then It's Not About the Burqa. I think I did those in my last video because, as I said, I did like the immediate read shelf and the ones that I'd planned on doing for the readathon. Then like to top this shelf off is my most prized possession. It's a portrait of my cat Biscuit that my flatmate Molly painted for me, and I honestly stare at this all day long. Just love it so much. This section I then use just for my like academic books and the books that I need to read for university. And this, don't be fooled, this is only 1 term's worth. So as you can see, there's a lot of reading required for my course. So just go through these quickly. Quicksand, which was for my African American literature unit. I then have these 4 texts, which was for my literature 1900 to present unit. I've got White Teeth by Zadie Smith, The Death of the Heart by Elizabeth Bowen, Endgame by Samuel Beckett, and then A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing by Emia McBride. I then have selective stories from Mansfield and D.H. Lauren, lyrical ballads by Wordsworth and Coleridge, Middlemarch by Eliot, which is absolutely humongous. I don't think I'll ever get around to finishing that book, but maybe one day because I'd like to say I did. I have The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, The Winter's Tale by Shakespeare, Interesting Narrative and Other Writings by Equiano, Coriolanus and Henry IV Part 1 by Shakespeare. Then I have Alfred Lord Tennyson's Selected Poems, Pamela by Samuel Richardson, and then As You Like It and Macbeth by Shakespeare. And then just down from there I've got the dreaded English Nortons, just an introduction to literature, criticism, theory. I also have a really lovely copy of the Odyssey, and I'm really glad I got it actually because it's stunning. But we actually only ended up reading book 9, so it's a good job I like the text because otherwise I'd have been a bit confused. I then have all of Chaucer and Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. And moving on to the next shelf. Right at the corner, with no surprises, we have a cat picture, which I think was like 20p, so, you know, let me off. I then have really fun copies of Ready Player One and Ready Player Two. They don't really go, considering they're part of a series, but they're cool in their own way, I suppose. I then have Crescent City by Sarah J Maas, The Vanishing Sky, which actually sounded really interesting, and it's been on my TBR for a very long time. It's not that long, so I should be able to get through it pretty quickly. But maybe that's another one for summer. The Devil and the Dark Water, and then my copy of Kingsbane, which kind of upsets me that it's not with the rest of the trilogy because it is my favourite trilogy of all time. This book probably was the best of the three, and I need to reunite it with the series because it's uncomfortable at the fact that it's by itself. But I love you. I then have a proof copy of Body of Stars, which is like a critique on victim blaming in today's society, and apparently it's absolutely phenomenal, so another one that I really need to get onto. I then have Cemetery Boys, my hardcover of The Song of Achilles, wow, Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen by Tricia Levenseller. They're really fun floppy material and I love them. Copies of Curse So Dark and Lonely and A Heart So Fierce and Broken. Actually, I'm a big fan of these covers. Hopefully when I get the last book, I'll be able to just sit down and consume the series because I don't like starting a series if it's not completed. I don't know, something about it just makes me uncomfortable. And I'm also an extremely impatient person, so that never works well for me. I then have Legendborn by Tracy Dion, which is BookTok favourite. I don't think I've ever seen a bad or negative review for this book. I think everyone who's read it I've seen has voted it 5 stars. So that's very promising. I then have House of Names, Warcross by Marie Lu. I'm a big fan of Marie Lu, so I need to get a second book to this duology. Some people have the really fun sprayed rainbow edges as well to this, and I'm very jealous of that. Blimey! Don't mind me just throwing books at myself. I have another Greek mythology retelling, 1,000 Ships. Another very cool and fun cover. Then have Aurora Rising. Copy number 1 of The Priory of the Orange Tree. Which again, I'm so desperate to read this. I need the time. Like, that is a commitment and a half. Like I say, Samantha Shannon is extremely popular in BookTok, so I will succumb one day. Summertime vibes for this book, I think, so a summertime read. Then have In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park, which was absolutely incredible, seriously. I recommend this book to absolutely everybody. It's so inspiring, but also very heartbreaking, so please look up the triggers on this one. I would really recommend it. I then have The Inheritance Games, which is another one I would recommend. I do need to get my hands on the sequel that's coming out soon, or is it already out? I'm not sure. I just really enjoyed this. I thought it was really fun and really exciting. Then I have It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which absolutely broke my heart, but still a really good read. My first Colleen Hoover book, and definitely won't be my last. And featuring my colourful rubber band ball, which is now functioning as a book stop. And then moving on to the final shelf. This section here I think is my favourite to look at, just because it's just really pretty. Starting off in the corner, we have Rebel by Marie Lu. I told you all my Marie Lu books were here, literally all of them, which is a sequel to the Legend trilogy, which I was obsessed with a few years ago. I think I'm going to reread the Legend trilogy over summer and then I'll read this because otherwise I'll probably be really confused. And I had These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, which again is a book that is endlessly raved about. I cannot tell you how excited I am to finally get around to starting that one. And then have one of my favourite reads of last year, Amazing Disgrace by Grace Campbell, which is actually an autobiography. It is incredible. Like, Grace, the way Grace writes is so compelling. She's hilarious, but she also deals with so many important topics. And I was completely inspired by her, and I'm now very much a very big fan. So yeah. Then have a gorgeous copy of Sky Hunter by Marie Lu. Then Star Daughter by Shveta Thakra, which is probably one of the most stunning covers I own to date. I then have my one and only Penguin cloth-bound hardback copy of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which is, if you didn't know, my favourite classic, which was actually gifted to me by my flatmate Dan for Christmas time. And yeah, I love it so much. I then have Kingdom of the Back by Marie Lu, From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is so hyped up, so hyped up. I'm honestly a bit nervous to read it in case it disappoints me, because that would be heartbreaking. I have Gareth Nix and Raybearer. Oh god, I'm so excited for Raybearer. Another book that I've had nothing but amazing things about, so that just hypes me up no end. It's not that long, so I probably could get around to doing that soon. So yeah, exciting. I then have 1,000 Splendid Suns. Again, nothing but great things about this. Again by E. Lockhart. I'm a bit conflicted about starting this one because I didn't really enjoy We Were Liars. So, I'm a bit hesitant to read another one, but I guess everyone deserves a second chance. Then have Foxes, To Kill a Kingdom, which has mixed reviews actually. Some people love it, some people hate it. A bit like Marmite. Then The Colour Purple by Alice Walker. Another one I really want to get around to finishing. Little Polaroid from our Christmas time here, which feels like eons ago now. I have a second copy of The Priory of the Orange Tree, which was actually sent to me by the publishers. I then have The Rose Society and The Midnight Star by Marie Lu, which is the sequel, which is a second and third book in the Young Elites trilogy. I read the first book one, but I couldn't read the second one because I was at home. But now I'm back. I can finally get around to finishing the series, which I'm really excited about because it ended on quite a cliffhanger. So I'm interested to see where the series goes. I then have Where the Crawdads Sing, The Black Kids, and I Stop Somewhere. I haven't read any of these three, but they were the original ones that I brought back to uni with me. I do have intentions of reading them in the near future, like I do most of this shelf. I now finally get around to showing you guys what is on my book cart. Starting at the top, we have The Kingdom of the Wicked, which I saw on TikTok, and apparently it's meant to be incredible, so of course all my rights come from TikTok, basically. And then I have The Never Tilting World, which someone recommended to me as Furyborn, my favourite series, but sapphic. So of course I was like, I need that. So yeah. Then I have 6 Angry Girls. I actually read this one and it was really fun. Just a really quick and enjoyable read. I then have Cryer's War. I haven't actually got around to ordering or reading the second one yet, but I did really enjoy this one and I'm interested to see where the series goes. So I then have The Mermaid, the Witch and the Sea. A Woman Is No Man, which is really good. It's really heartbreaking, but I'm so glad I read it. I have Know My Name by Chanel Miller, which is one of my favourite books of the year so far. So empowering, and I'm honestly so inspired by Chanel and her story. You then have a copy of The Henna Wars, Witches Steeped in Gold, which is gorgeous. And then I have the Isles of Storms and Sorrow trilogy. So we have Viper, Venom and Vulture. Then moving on to the second shelf. So first up I have Felix Ever After, which I read earlier this year and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really important read. And I have Women Don't Know You Pretty, I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deether, which again I read this one at the start of the year and I really did enjoy it. And I did learn a lot from it. I then have The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, aka one of my favourite books of all time, absolutely phenomenal. Please read it if you haven't already. Daisy Jones and the Six, which I equally enjoyed. I then have Sophia Khan Is Not Obliged, Clap When You Land, The Gilded Ones, which is just such a cool copy. I love the sprayed edges. I then have the entire Renegade series by Marissa Meyer, Renegades, Arch Enemies and Supernova. Waiting for a long time to find the chance to sit down and be in the mood to read these, but I feel now it's going to have to be a summer thing or just after I finish my essays. But I've been seeing people hype them up for the longest time and there's no way I'm not going to jump on the hype. So very shortly I will be on board the Renegade hype. Finally on to the last part of the book cart. First we have Flock, which is part of the Ravenhood trilogy. I've seen so many people say this series is phenomenal. I did start reading it the other night, but then I had to come back to uni and then it all went up in the air. But I will get back to it shortly. Then have The Duke and I, the first book in the Bridgerton series. Homegoing by Yaa Yassi. I was actually studying this for one of my modules and I just fell in love with the book. And I really want her other novel, Transcendent Kingdom, so I'm going to get that shortly. I then have Outlander and Dragonfly in Amber. I actually do have the entire series of Outlander at home. You might have seen it in my previous bookshelf tour, but I really have been wanting these covers for the longest time. I found this one in a charity shop and then I found this one in the works for really cheap. So I thought, might as well just, collect them and build up my series and the covers that I love. This book, Battle Royale, I am honestly so excited for it. I bought it in Waterstones the other day and I'm literally bumped it up to the top of my TBR already. Although it is slightly damaged, so I'm very upset about it. This is what The Hunger Games was inspired by and I honestly can't wait to read it. I then have A Man Called Ove, which I also bought the other day. Donna Tartt's A Secret History. Into the Crooked Deep by the same author that wrote To Kill a Kingdom. I then have a proof of Kings of a Dead World, which is coming out soon. It's a dystopian world about a sleeping city, and it sounds right up my street, so I'm very excited about it. Then have The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which I found in a charity shop for 75p, and I was absolutely buzzing, so of course I had to get it. And then last but not least, I have Anti-Semitism, What It Is, What It Isn't, and Why It Matters. I thought it was just so important that I bought this and read it, because I'm honestly shamefully very ignorant when it comes to this matter. I really wanted to educate myself, so I will be reading this very shortly. It's definitely a necessary read that everyone should be having on their bookshelves. So that brings to close my university and bookshelf cart tour. I will admit we did get incredibly lucky with the amount of shelf space we got given in this flat, and I'm a bit nervous next year that I'm not going to have as much space and therefore not enough shelving to put my books. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, or leave a comment below. I look forward to posting my next video, and I shall see you then. So thank you so much for watching. Bye!